His topic today is Stop Bailing Out Corporate Crooks. The people can run the banks. His name is Windley. Sorry, Brett. And he's a resident of Utah. He's an iron worker by trade and currently the organizer and director of labor relations for Iron Workers Local 27 here in Salt Lake City. Brett believes in the working class, he backs the working class, and believes that all working people should be paid a living wage. He fights for single-payer health care, and he believes in the Constitution, loves this country. I'd like to introduce my brother, Brett Windley.
It's nice to be out here with all of you today, and I don't care what they say. There's not a lot of people here, but it's nerve-wracking to stand right here and gather all of you. I'd like to thank Julie Hoser, our moderator, for all your efforts today, and Linda Parsons with Jobs for Justice, and the Healthy Planet Mobilization Committee, Hans Erbar, Dwayne Goodwin, the list goes on, and my esteemed speakers. As we know, we're gathering today on the 41st anniversary of the assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As speakers, we were tasked with reciting a quote from one of Dr. King's speeches. I must say that I was humbled to read and listen to his good words, which he backed up with direct action. From his I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. in August of 1963, he said, "We have come here today to dramatize a shameful condition." He continued, "In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. Today in 2009, it's clear that only a few selected words from this text need to be removed and changed to make it as relevant as it is today. Today we have our first African-American president, a man who studied hard, who worked hard, and did all the right things in his life to get where he is today. I believe Dr. King would be very pleased that his view from the mountaintop was realized. We can all be proud to be citizens of this great country, but our country has its flaws. President Obama inherited a mess of epic proportion and was mandated to act quickly to resolve these issues. And we all know what these issues are. 2 bloody wars, a healthcare crisis, energy dependence on foreign oil, and the rights of workers, immigrants, and homosexuals, not to mention an economy that is so recessed we're heading into another recession or depression. So I've come here before you today to dramatize a shameful condition and possibly offer a couple of solutions for all of us. I continue to be amazed at the obscene amounts of money that have been offered up to the bankers, insurers, and corporations of Wall Street. Most recently, Washington and the Federal Reserve have been talking of throwing $1 to $2 trillion more dollars onto the TARP fire. Now, to try and put these numbers in perspective a little bit, the national debt right now is at $11,128,154,710.99. Our population is 305,935,439, so each citizen in this country would receive $36,374.31. The national debt has been growing at a staggering $3.83 billion per day since September 28, 2007. That's a huge amount of money that we, the people, will be paying off for several generations. My best guess is that around 500 companies in the United States took TARP money. Of those companies, there are 3 Utah firms in there that participated. They are Medallion Bank for $11,800,000, Zions Bank Corporation for $1,400,000, and Cache Valley Banking Company for $4,767,000. Some of these firms that took TARP money, like Bank of America, has gone to the well more than once. With all this money being offered up, and I still don't see anything getting better with our economy. It feels like a bottomless pit. When will enough be enough? We have AIG getting money from our generous Uncle Sam and paying multi-million-dollar bonuses with it. And on the other side, we have GM being forced to restructure in 60 days. And their CEO, Rick Wagner, has gotten the axe. What is good for GM should be good for all the rest. The time is now for heads to roll in the fast lane. Banks either take the money or they don't. But one thing's for sure, they don't want the government interfering with their operations because it affects those fat paychecks. When greed is a motivation and they don't operate in good faith, then let them fail. But the bailouts must end now. Clearly we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but we need to hold these responsible for their parts of this mess accountable. Now, incompetent is a harsh word, and I would hesitate to use it in this matter. Perhaps it was cockiness or overconfidence. Whatever it is with these men and women, it nevertheless still feels like incompetence. Their motivation could only be greed because I never saw any good signs of good faith works done on their part. They were rewarded for failure. Now, these are their day-to-day jobs, their daily grind, their career. It's no different than the construction worker or the baker or the librarian that goes to their job every day. But unlike these empty-suit executives, they get fired for failure, for making mistakes, and in some states, simply at the will of the employer. I can only imagine Thomas Edison getting a bonus for every time he didn't invent the light bulb. He would have never released the fact that he had indeed invented the light bulb until he held a financial edge or his competition started making waves. Thank God that the